All right, hello guys, and welcome to our video about the introduction to the photosynthesis modeling project. You are about to start a week-long project where you will be creating a physical model, something that you can hold that represents the photosynthesis equation. You'll be doing this with materials that you already have in your home. Don't feel like you have to go somewhere, buy anything. Use the materials you have. Whatever you have, we can make it work. Your job is to show photosynthesis. So let me explain photosynthesis just briefly. You should already have somewhat of an idea, and then I will get into the project. All right. If you recall, photosynthesis, the equation is reactants going in, products coming out, carbon dioxide, CO2. You mix that with some H2O, some water, and you add some sunlight, and it's going to take that and it's going to produce, the word produce is a derivative of the word products or vice versa. It's going to produce C6H12O6, which is glucose or sugar, and oxygen. And you have one side that goes into the plant and another side that comes out. Reactants go in, products come out. And if we break this down, which you've already seen in the last video, we have 6 CO2 molecules. CO2, that's one single molecule. One C, O2, two O's or two oxygens. CO2, there's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That goes into the plant. It's added with some water, 6 H2O molecules. And the sunlight energy is what allows the process to occur. So you add some sunlight energy or solar energy. And then the plant, inside the plant, it changes all of these atoms, the molecules, which are made up of atoms, it changes them and then forms glucose, which is carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and O2, which is just oxygen. And what we want to see in this equation, and what we want to see in your model, just like you can see in this paper model, is that on the reactant side, we have 6 carbon, 18 oxygen, and 12 hydrogen. If you added all those up, there's 6 carbon from the CO2, there's 12 oxygen in the CO2, there's 12 hydrogen in the H2O, there's 6 oxygen in the H2O. That adds up to 6 carbon, 18 oxygen, and 12 hydrogen. And this is similar to a math problem. One side has to equal the other side. So instead of just an arrow, we can put an equal sign. So 6, 18, 12, that should equal the same on the product side. And if we count them up, it in fact does. 6 carbon, 18 oxygen, 12 hydrogen. What you see here is a paper model representing photosynthesis. Those are small pieces of paper, the small green C's, the small red triangles that represent the oxygen, the blue H's that represent hydrogen. That's a paper model. You are going to be creating a 3-dimensional model using other objects. For example, for carbon, you could use a certain color of Lego. For oxygen, use a different color of Lego. For hydrogen, use a third color of Lego. The important thing is there's only 3 different colors. There's only 3 different types of atoms. So you're going to create a project that shows the atoms. What we're going to do next, I'm going to show you the Google Doc, and I'm going to show you some examples. Okay. So I'm on Canvas now, and I'm under modules, and we are in Why Do We Eat? Week 3, and you'll find the photosynthesis modeling project. There are multiple things underneath it that all go with the project, but the main project page is right here. So you're going to want to open that up, and you'll see all the details here. You'll see an introduction. You'll see a video, which is where this video is at. And you'll see the steps. You have 1 week to complete this project, and there are only 6 steps. You'll also notice there are different due dates. So these are essentially progress checks. And if you actually go back a page, that's exactly what you saw under modules. You see the progress checks. So you're going to be submitting your project throughout the week to show your progress. So let's break this down. You have 6 steps. The first thing you're going to do is complete a design sketch and upload that to the Google Doc. I'll show you the Google Doc in just a moment. By the end of the day, Monday, the 11th, you are going to submit that Google Doc by clicking here, showing your design sketch in the Google Doc. Then step 2, you're going to start building and testing this prototype. We're using the design process in this build. You're designing something. You're going to build your model. You're going to test it to make sure it works. I'll go over that in just a moment, what that means. You're going to take photos of it for step 3, upload the photos to your Google Doc. You're going to submit that progress showing where you're at with your build by the 14th. And then you're going to answer some conclusion questions. And by the 15th, which is Friday, you are going to submit your completed Google Doc, as well as submit a photo of your model to a discussion board. So there's 2 things you'll submit that Friday. For this overall project, you have 4 things to submit: 2 progress checks and your final project. Okay. All the information, the detailed information about these steps can be found in the Google Doc, the Google Doc you will submit. To obtain your Google Doc, you click here, Photosynthesis Model Google Doc. When you click on that, it will automatically prompt you to make a copy. This bypasses the file, make a copy process we used to use. Google Drive now allows you just to make your own copy by clicking make a copy. You make a copy, it opens up. Beautiful Google Doc. The first thing you want to do is go up to the top here and erase where it says copy of first, last name, and you would put your first and last name. I like to put underscore in between my first and last name, but you don't have to. And then you can start going through the Google Doc. So I'm going to go through the Google Doc now. Photosynthesis Modeling Project. Your job is to complete all boxes highlighted in yellow below. So you know where to put stuff. Anything that's highlighted in yellow, not green. Yellow is where you have to submit stuff. So if you scroll down, yellow, yellow, yellow. That's where you have to put stuff. Okay, so let's go back to the top. And this is 8 pages, but it's not that bad once you get into it. The introduction starts off by giving you a passage from the Unlocking Energy in Foods article. Please read through that. And then here's the project problem statement. We are learning and teaching from home and are not able to get a physical model of the process of photosynthesis and how it works to each student. We need you to build a physical model for us to show your understanding of the process of photosynthesis and cellular respiration. Now, if you don't quite understand cellular respiration, ignore that and just focus on photosynthesis. The equipment you need: your science notebook, pencil, building materials of your choosing that you have around the house. Again, we don't want you to leave. Building tools for prototype assembly, scissors, glue, tape, paint, etc., computer with internet access, and a project checklist, which is essentially just this Google Doc. Okay. So here is your outline. You have 6 steps. That's all. And these are the same steps that were on Canvas. The first thing you do, complete a design sketch and upload it to this document. Design sketches should include materials proposed to use for carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen, background or working surface to display your model on, method of presentation. Design should be well drawn and be clearly photographed for your teacher to evaluate and get feedback on. Once you design your project on paper, you are going to see step 1 here. You'll scroll down and you'll see a larger detailed procedure with step 1 and a spot to insert your sketch. It says insert your idea sketch here. You can delete this writing, insert your sketch here. If you don't remember how to do that, you can go up to insert, image. You can use the camera. If you have it in your Google Drive, you can go there. If you have it uploaded to your computer, maybe through email, and you downloaded it from your email, wherever you want to get that image from, you'll do that. You can also download Google Docs to your phone or Google Drive to your phone and take a picture with your phone and add it that way. You put the sketch in here, and if you keep scrolling down, it has you describe the details of your sketch. So dimensions, concepts, your ideas. How are you going to display this? On a poster, a wooden model, materials needed. What materials do you have around your house that you need? And then you need a material to represent each atom or the different elements in of the photosynthesis equation. So remember, we go back here, there are 3 types of atoms in the whole equation. There's carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. In this model that you see on the screen, carbon is represented with a green circle, a piece of paper in the shape of a green circle. Oxygen is represented in this is what you're seeing on the screen, by a red triangle. Hydrogen is represented by a blue square. This is just my representation that I'm showing you. Your job is to create your own model. So what you could do, you could use different materials to represent the different atoms. Let me go back, and I'm going to show you a different page that you can look on when you're on Canvas. You'll see something that says resources to help with your project. There are some examples here to help you get started. Here's some past project examples from Lincoln students. And if you click on that, it will show you some different ideas. So these students used clay to represent the different atoms. These students used crayons and pennies and cotton balls. You can use whatever you want, but your job is to create a representation, a physical model of the photosynthesis equation. Okay. All right, so after you have your sketch done, you sketch your idea, make sure it's labeled, make sure it's detailed. You'll upload it there, and then it says stop here and submit on Canvas for progress check number 1 submission. Okay, so I'm going to stop. I'm going to go back to Canvas, and it says progress check number 1. Click on that. And it says progress check number 1, due 5/11. On this page, yours won't say publish, it will say submit. You'll click submit, you'll add the Google Doc and submit your Google Doc. Okay? You don't need to make a new Google Doc throughout the project, you just continue using the same one. That needs to be done by Monday, the 11th. Okay. After you sketch out what you want to build, the next thing is to build and test it. So, do you have 6 carbon, 18 oxygen, 12 hydrogen? How will you model sunlight in your equation, or ATP if you're doing the cellular respiration model? You don't have to. You can focus on photosynthesis, but if you are, think about ATP. You need to make both sides of the chemical reaction. So 12 carbon, 32 oxygen, 24 hydrogen if you're doing both sides. Does your model include all the molecules? And is the equation balanced, meaning do you have the same amount of carbon on each side, the same amount of oxygen, same amount of hydrogen? Okay, you need to design this model, whatever you're going to create, to represent photosynthesis. This is essentially the build and test. You can rebuild if you need to, test again, rebuild. But on this page, on this section, I want you to describe your process of building and testing your prototype. Where did you get materials? What was your idea for building it? How did you start building it? Okay, you describe that here. And then if you go down to step 3, it's take photos of your prototype. So as you're building it, as you're testing it, when you're completely done building it, you can insert those photos here. This needs to be done, if you go back to Canvas, by the 14th, okay? So if you keep scrolling down, it says stop here and submit on Canvas for progress check number 2 submission. So I'm going to go back to the main project page, and you'll see progress check number 2. That's where you can submit it. Or we'll take you to the same place. I go back 1, progress check number 2. So wherever you want to find it and click on it, you can. Take you to the same place, and it shows you what you need to have for progress check number 2. You need to have step 1, step 2, step 3 done. You have those 3 done, you submit the same Google Doc you submitted for progress check 1. It's just now it's going to be complete through step 3. So you have all this done, you submit the Google Doc, you're good to go. So essentially, you're almost done with the project. At this point, once you get through step 3, which step 3 is due Thursday the 14th. Once you have that done, then you can move on. Step 4, there's conclusion questions. This is in yellow, so you need to answer it. Please answer in complete sentences. And then step 5 and 6, which those 2 steps are just telling you to submit your completed Google Doc. So really, there's only 4 steps to the actual project. So let me go back to the top. Step 1, draw a design sketch, upload it. Step 2, build your project. Look at the examples that are on Canvas. It says resources that can be used for this project. It's on Canvas. Build it, take photos of it. Step 4, answer some conclusion questions. Okay. Step 5 and 6, just to verify and make sure you know what to do. Submit completed Google Doc to Canvas. It says you can submit it where it says final submission number 1. So if I go back to Canvas, let me go back 1 page. And it says final submission number 1. This is where you want to submit your final Google Doc. Now that your photosynthesis modeling project is complete, you need to submit your completed Google Doc to this assignment page. The final Google Doc is due Friday, May 15th. Make sure you completed each step below. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3, Step 4, Step 5. And you don't have to complete Step 6 technically yet, but I have it on here. Okay. Once you're done, once you're ready, on the top on your page, it will say submit. You click submit that Google Doc. So at this point in time, you should have submitted your Google Doc 3 times. Progress check number 1 on the 11th, progress check number 2 on the 14th, your final submission on the 15th. So you're submitting the Google Doc 3 different times. The final submission is not your Google Doc. I'm going to open that up for you. It also shows it here. Step 6, that's the final submission number 2. You will submit a photo of your prototype model to a discussion board. It's essentially like a virtual gallery walk. So gallery walks are where you walk around a room looking at different projects. We're going to do that through a discussion board. So if you look here on final submission number 2, due 5/15, you need to have a post that includes photos of your project showing different angles and all the details, a written description of how your model represents the photosynthesis equation, or instead of doing number 1 and 2, you can create a video that shows your project and you describing it, whatever you want to do. And you'll do that by clicking reply, and then you can embed an image, you can put a link to an image, you can copy and paste an image, whatever you want to do to put an image on here. Okay, if you want to add it to a Google Doc and put a link to the Google Doc here, that's perfectly fine. If you want to make a video and put it here, that's perfectly fine. Okay? All right. So I'm back. You can see me now. You have the job of completing this entire project. So it's right here under Why Do We Eat? Week 3 of the module. This entire project by May 15th, which is Friday. You have 4 things to submit. 3 of them, progress check 1 and 2, and final submission 1 are submitting your Google Doc. And then the final submission 2 is just submitting some photos and describing your project so your peers can see. This is everything you need. If you have questions or you need help, click on resources. There are some past project examples, some non-Lincoln student project examples. If you want to use Legos, making paper molecules, there's some websites about photosynthesis. There are also videos here that can help you. If you want to learn how to sketch, balancing the photosynthesis equation, if you want to watch me explain the photosynthesis equation, or Miss Balicki explain the photosynthesis model, they're all here for you. You have until Friday to finish it. If you have questions, just reach out to me. You can reach out to Mrs. Balicki if you'd rather. We're doing the same project, but you need to complete it by the end of the week. You're more than welcome to talk to other students, and we'll have 2 Zoom sessions this week to talk about it. All right. Hopefully everyone has a good day. Thank you for watching.